Hello everybody, welcome back to a bit of a different video. Today we're going over screenshots, how you can take them for free, how you can improve them a little bit with a paid program, and just the easiest ways to do things. The first thing you want to do is open up Counter-Strike. Next, you want to head over to csinspects.com. I'll put a link in the description below. Now you want to join one of the servers. So to do that, just click View Server List. I always just go to the Community Hub, click on Connect, open with Steam, and you'll start to load in. Once you load into the server, there is instructions on how to do things, but essentially you could just run over here and these are your most popular gloves, knife finishes, and all your agent skins. You could just shoot to equipped. But if you want to build a more personal loadout and test out sticker crafts, when you're back on CS and Specs, you can search any gun you want. Just for the meme, we're going to go with Dragon Lore. Now we could do pretty much anything we want to it. Let's put a name tag on it. We could put a stat track on it. Let's go 1337. And pattern ID we could replace. And where we'll use Sparkle's #1 lowest float. And then once we have it here, we can add stickers. So let's add a Titan Hollow. And we can also add a charm. And once we have our setup ready, we'll just click generate. We'll get a code. It automatically copies it. We'll go back into CS, open our chat, paste the inspect link, hit enter. And there we have our 4X Titan Hollow Dragon Lore and Stat Track, factory new, #1 lowest float, with a very sexy name tag. And now we'll go over the actual screenshots. I just want to say, if you do own the skins, you can go to this workshop map, and it's a lot easier to take the screenshots. There's an options to change the HUD, your FOV, things like that, and a crazy amount of screenshot screens to go to. But in this case, if you don't own the weapons, if we go to a CS Inspect, we build our craft. And we can go to these little bubbles here. If you're building for thumbnails, the straight background is easy to key out, so that's nice. Let's find something cool. I love scenery like this, so I think this is where we're going to take our screenshot. Now, if we want to get rid of the HUD and the death feed, all we're going to want to do is open up our console, type in CL_draw HUD space 0. Then we'll get the lighting where we kind of like it. Take it here. So we'll take our screenshot on Steam, which default is just F12. So if we open up Steam, our screenshot is right here and it's good to post. But if we want to enhance it a little bit, or you want to using it for thumbnails, I'll show you some things that I like to do in Photoshop. So there's probably an easier way to do this, but I just use the polygon lasso tool and I select my arms, gloves, and skin. So I'll do that real quick. So now that we have it selected, we'll copy and paste it. So Control C, then Control V. You can do all different sorts of things to the background. You can get rid of the background completely and put whatever you'd like in there. For example, we'll take my nuke render that I've been working on. We'll throw that in the background. That looks pretty interesting. But we'll go back to the original background. We'll layer from the background, create its own layer. Go to Filter, Blur, Radial Blur. I like radial blur for some reason. I think it just looks really nice. Go to like 3 or 4 and it gives you this nice kind of fuzzy look to it. And then some cool things you could do to the op is if you hit Control M on the keyboard, it'll bring up the curves. We can drop the shadows, give it a nice contrasty look, and bring up the highlights just a touch. And I think that looks very cool. And then if you hit Control U, we can adjust the saturation a bit. And I think we'll drop the saturation on the background. Also go in here, add some contour. Just make it pop a little bit more. There are some other cool things. We could do a nice drop shadow. I do like me some outer glow. Change the opacity on that. Let's make her yellow. So I think that looks pretty nice. Another thing I like to do is we'll make a new layer. We'll go to the gradients, and we'll just put a slight gradient in the background. So if you're taking a screenshot of just a cool skin you'd like in CS2 to put on your profile, this is the method that I would use. You can go to any one of those orbs and find a background that you like, but you can also edit it like we did today. What I recommend, if you're doing it for a showcase such as this or doing it for a YouTube thumbnail, I would take it in front of the green screen orb. You can go to your magic wand tool, increase the tolerance to about 150, click the green background, go select, inverse. You can Control C, Control V again, get rid of the background, and then you're free to place whatever picture you want in the background. So right now we're making CSGO and Minecraft. And that's it. That's how I take all my screenshots and how I do my edits for thumbnails and for Steam profiles. If it helped or you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I'll get back to everybody. And happy screenshotting. Have a good day.